Shalom, everybody. This is Dave from Universal Truth of Mankind, and this is Kabbalah 201. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you for coming back. I'm very pleased with um, the reception that I have and the kindness of people. And I'm so happy to be back. I had to take that little hiatus. I'll be doing those again. That's just normal. That's the breathing, spiritual breathing. You inhale for a while. In other words, you learn, you introspect, you try to change things, you let God teach you and transform you, and then you exhale. And then you share everything with people. And then you get to a point where you say, okay, enough, I got to breathe now. And then you stop and then you inhale. So we'll see how long this lasts. Will be this be 4 or 5 months like the last exhale? Who knows? We'll see. So anyway, what are we going to talk about today? Well, I want to talk about the concept of internality and externality. This is a concept I really don't see talked about. It is talked about. Don't get me wrong. It is talked about. But I think it's something that is largely overlooked and is not spoken about enough. You can find this information on the internet. Just look for it. It is taught out there. There are articles in it. Ashlag does talk about this, and it is inferred by Rob Berg and others as well. Cook, Brandywine, and so on and so forth. Vilna, so on and so forth. It's implied, but I'm making light of it specifically. Okay, internality and externality. What is externality? Externality is where we are literally using our five senses and looking on the outside. In other words, we see somebody do something, and we look and say, well, that's foolish. And what do we say? Oh, that man's a fool. We do that. Or if somebody says something rude or bad or is incoherent, we may judge the person by that. Someone may not wear the latest fashions. We may judge them for that. Their eyes may be too close. We'll judge them for that. They may have little hair. We may like that or not like that. Maybe the way a food tastes, where maybe it wasn't cooked right and it tastes real bad. Oh, you had a bad ingredient. It happens. And then, so you say, oh, I'm never going to have that again. See, when I was a young kid, my mother used to make string beans. What did she do? She used canned string beans and she boiled them. Yuck. Oh my gosh. Keep it away from me. Then one day, my wife said, try this. I said, what's it beans? I don't eat beans. She says, try it. Okay, dear. She says, I sauteed them. Have one. I tried it. Holy craps, it was delicious. I'm a fan of beans now. Big fan of green beans. I love them raw too. They are fantastic. I don't care if they're lightly cooked or not cooked. Oh, I just love them. But you see, I made a judgment call on them because of an earlier experience. I didn't want to try them. I'll give you another example. I love grapes, but I can't stand raisins. Then one day, a guy I used to work with, he's a Muslim. People didn't understand how me and a Muslim got along. They thought we were mortal enemies. No, we were good friends. We shared food, we shared tea time, we had a great time together. And all my fellow workers could not understand this. So I was telling him, he said, oh, have some raisins. I said, I don't like raisins. And I told him the story. He says, try these, trust me. I said, okay. Ate them. They were delicious. I couldn't believe how good they tasted. Now, I had an incident where, as part of early in my life, where as part of a relay race type thing, And at each point, you had to eat something. And at one point, I had raisins. And I said, well, it's good for the team. I threw up. I couldn't hack it. So that was a bad experience. And here he gave me, and I loved it. I said, why are these different? I said, they even look a little different. He says, they don't use sulfur as a preservative. I said, oh. So one day I tried a regular raisin. I had no problem keeping it down now that I knew what I was rejecting. So I like organic raisins without the sulfur preservative. I made a judgment call for an early experience. So that's the external aspect. And that's what traps us into our thinking. That's why we'll listen to the news and literally permit ourselves to be brainwashed by other people and what they're saying. Friends, neighbors, the news, the TV, or others. You can't, you got to think for yourself. So that's externality. But what is internality? This is going to be part one. I'm going to cover another part shortly. So internality is what's within you. It's your essence. It's also called your sixth sense, not ESP, your spiritual sense that's within you that you are drawing to. That's why Lek 12:1 of Genesis, why Abraham was told Lek, repeated the word lek twice, Leka. That root word was repeated twice. What it means was leave the land, but also go within. Why? Because you find the creator from within, not from without. In externality and internality, you have to focus on the internality. Take a break there. Prepare yourselves to think about that. And then I'm going to do part two, in which I'm going to elaborate a little more on this to help us to better apply, practice, practical Kabbalah within our lives to bring the light. Shalom, everybody. Take care.